Hey, we made it.
We made it.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. Only because you're here. You make everything look good.
Well, you know, I look everything. I look everything.
I try to look at everything, but my mind just can't take it all. So I tend to just like look at segments of things. Um, I find it actually helps me focus when I focus.
Hey, well, good.
Yeah, when I try to look at everything at once, I can't do it, but you can apparently. So that's good.
Yeah, it's been quite a day. You guys are amazing. Welcome. It's Don't Worry Wednesday, Friday edition. Don't fret Friday.
He's
Right,
right.
Ryan?
He's right.
Yeah, right.
Welcome. This is your host. This is Joe
Yeah,
over here.
I'm still working on it. So, this is the show where I gotta do. We're all discombobulated. Sorry. Jesse is gone. Jesse's wife has an injury that they are handling, and so our thoughts and prayers are with them right now. Yeah, so we had to kind of slap this all together real quick and get here. So anyway, it's the show where we handle your issues. We've got enough issues of our own, but we would like to handle yours. Because
sure would.
we have issues coming on the stream. So anyway, you guys are awesome. We are not professional therapists, counselors, or policemen, or lawyers, or anything like that. We are just your friends. We want to help in any way we possibly can. We want to offer some love and encouragement, perspective, and just do anything we can to help you feel like you can make it through whatever you're going through. You are definitely smart enough to make it on your own. However, sometimes we get caught in the middle of something, and it just we having an outsider look at it and go, did you notice this? It helps out a lot. So yes, give Jesse and his family our love and prayers. Absolutely. That's we were just praying for them right before we came on. Excuse me. It's a difficult time for him. So welcome anyway. Ryan got us going here. He did a great job getting us live. Good job.
Thanks. You too.
So our producer tonight is Ryan. Joe
Sorry, that was my fault. I was turning down the wrong knob. That was my fault. I was like, Joe, you're so quiet. Let me boost
Joe,
you
why
up
are
here.
you
Let me
so
turn myself
quiet?
down. And then it was like I was turning the wrong ones. So that was my fault, guys. Sorry about that. I made the issue worse. It's fixed now.
Oh, nice.
I'll make
All
sure
right.
I'm way down here for everybody. Maybe down here, so no one has to hear me talk.
Hey, Jesse's here. Look, there he is. He's in the chat. Welcome,
Nice.
Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
Good.
Hey,
Glad
welcome.
to see you. Yeah. Hope all is going well. Up there. It can be a difficult time these days to go to the emergency room and do all that kind of stuff. You know, and emergency rooms are quite busy. My son was at the emergency room this week. Must have been Monday. And yeah.
I'll be right back. Continue.
Oh,
Yeah, just
see you
continue.
later.
Go for it.
Hey, we're gonna keep going. Ryan just left. Now it's the Solo Joe show, and that's scary for everybody because we don't know what's gonna come out of his mouth. So yeah, so we have Ryan was producing the show. He's not here to verify that, but he is. He's got his finger on the button. Princess, she is keeping us on track, keeping us organized, helping us stay on target. Senna is with us in the chat room. We got everybody here working together, and even Jesse is here in the chat with us, even though he can't be actually having his finger on the button for us. But so welcome everybody. Looks like we got a whole bunch of people. Kendra, Swilk, Snowlock, J-Ho. Man, we got a whole bunch of you guys. I'm gonna miss somebody. Cherry. Yeah, welcome everybody.
Hey.
It's a beautiful Friday.
Sorry about that.
How's your Friday, Ryan?
Oh, it's great. Actually, it's a really nice Friday. It's nice weather outside. It is. It's been good. It's been a productive day. I got a lot of work done. I was awake. I got a good 2.5 maybe hour nap. It's pretty nice.
Hey, how about that?
Since yesterday.
That's nice.
Yeah. Otherwise, at this point, I would have been up for well over 28 or something hours. So it's good that I got that nap in. That actually was perfect amount of time because I feel 100% refreshed. I feel like I got a full night's rest actually. So
Oh, cool.
it was absolutely great. Yeah. But yeah, today's been great. How about you, man?
I'm good. I've been told to let you know. How many Squishmallows do you have back there?
Oh, hey, what are you
Work.
doing? What are you doing there? Diving into your... I've got 4 of them.
You got 4?
Yep.
My
see.
youngest son wanted to inform you today that he now has more Squishmallows than you.
Does he?
Yes.
Really?
He
How many
has
does he have?
5.
Whoa. And what are they of?
A variety of things. He has one owl, one big owl.
Okay.
And then he
Nice.
has a narwhal.
Okay. Nice.
He has a zebra, and he's
Ooh.
got a couple
I-
other ones.
I haven't seen a zebra. That sounds good.
It's pretty cool. And he's got all the sizes. He's got the extra large, the medium, the small, and the extra small. So he's got like
So he's got a
the whole
stack.
range of
That's
sizes.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But he wanted to make sure I let you know
Thank
that
you
he's
for letting
got
me know.
more than you.
I'm gonna have to buy like 12 tomorrow.
I'll let him know you said that. He's
Yeah.
gonna-
I'll be contest. I'll buy 2 more so I have one up him, and then he has to figure out how to one up me. No, I'm just kidding. But that's awesome. Way
Yeah.
to go.
So, but yeah, I don't know what all the animals he's. I think he might actually have 2 narwhals.
Oh, what's his favorite animal? Favorite animal?
It might be the narwhal.
It might be the narwhal.
It
That's
changes.
totally...
Like these kids change their minds.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They
And
really do.
As soon as I think I've got them figured out,
Mm-hmm.
they're like,
ch-
"Dad, I don't like that anymore. That's dumb."
No, it's not. That's totally cool.
Like
You can like that.
Like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's still cool.
It's still cool. As
My
long as
kids
Joe's
say-
doing it.
It's not cool anymore, Dad. It's not cool. Like it is cool. Trust me. I can do it. I can do it on a YouTube chat. It's cool.
It is cool. No one's cooler
know
than
what I
a
mean?
Joe.
So, at any rate, what do you say? We got a show we can do here.
Yeah,
we got
let's
some
do it.
people here. We got. I know we've got at least one topic where there's a
Ooh.
person here. And yeah, so but I will go down the list, and
right.
if you hear your name, give a quick what's up to your mama that. Or
Yes, and I don't think your bed can hold any more plushies. Is the truer response, or statement? I mean.
yeah, you do have a lot. I saw, that one time, I think I've seen you on video a couple times, Senna, and yeah, you've got quite a full
Collection.
load of
It's actually really
of animals
awesome.
back there.
I'm-
It's majestic. I will use the word majestic.
I am not gonna lie. I am jealous.
Mm.
I wish they were all owl plushies though, every one of them, and then I have a not just like a family, but like a tribe of owls.
Mm.
And then I can double that and make it a city, and then have an owl city, and then get sued.
Yes, because that's what we all want in life.
We
is
all
lawsuits.
want to get sued.
That's right.
We
By
are
owl
not
cities,
professional
especially.
psychologists or police officers or.
Yes.
I think it
Legal
bears
disclaimer.
being said again after
we
that.
may
statement.
or may not be giving you good advice.
Yeah, we might not be attorneys. So
Actually, usually avoiding lawsuits is a good thing.
for sure. All right, yeah, let's do it then.
All right, here's the list of names: Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Mark Anthony, Lux, and Cherry. And that's the list we have right now. So I know I've seen Cherry here. But Cherry's not giving us a what's up with your mom and dad. There it is. What's up with your mom? And I'm nervous. Whoa.
Whoa.
Okay.
All right.
Well, no need to be nervous. You are among friends here. We will love you no matter what. 1 million is a big city. It is a big city. But all right, so Cherries is actually called Deserving of Destruction. Let me find the link. Oh, Princess got the link. Princess did it. Good job, Princess. You're awesome. So anyway, so this is Cherry's post called Deserving of Destruction, and it goes like this. First of all, I know the first thought some might immediately have is, but nobody deserves anything. But stick with me for the moment. I've been debating leaving BSS and everything surrounding it. I changed my mind to wanting to go back to making music again, and my constant shifting of interest makes me feel like a nuisance. Also, while I love everyone in the community, it's very painful. It's come to the point where I feel like everything I'm doing is because I made mistakes, so I must repair the relationships I broke as a result. But I'm done with this mentality of thinking that I owe anyone anything. Ironic, considering what this post is about. But the reason I want to break this mentality is because if I'm able to cut off having to owe people things or having to live for certain people, then I don't have to live at all. I'm no longer Christian. Do I believe in some higher power? I surely believe it's possible. But as for religion, I'm undecided and plan on staying undecided so that I am free to believe whatever as long as it feels true. So do I believe in God? Possibly. Religion aside, I can continue on this post. I don't want to live. I want to die. I've been this way for quite a while, and the feeling never left. I just kept silent about it because I didn't want to keep complaining about the same thing. You don't deserve to have to repeatedly deal with my issues, and I don't deserve to be helped. If everything's a gift and nothing is deserved, then I don't want to take the gift. Give it to someone that could do better with it. The gift will simply be wasted in my hands. I don't deserve life to experience beautiful things, to have any talent, not that I have much to begin with, or anything at all. Even if no one deserves anything, I still deserve less than that. I deserve death. I deserve pain. I deserve hell for all the people I've hurt and all the mistakes I've made. It's hard to explain because if no one deserves anything, then do I even deserve that? But I do. I deserve everything miserable. I deserve nothing but pain. I am deserving of destruction. I don't deserve the light or the good and beauty it brings. And because of all this, I want, no need to die. I wish I could so badly, but I know doing so will hurt my sisters, my grandparents, and those who love me. I don't deserve their love, and I wish I could make them see that. I wish I could die without causing anyone any type of pain or hardship. I'm positive nothing can change the way I feel about myself, but I thought I'd post this anyway, since this is the only place I can say these things without causing people to panic. I'd like to be proven wrong, but part of it comes from me. Only I can fill the remaining gap needed to change the way I feel about myself. Fall from grace, run away from what's inside. Hide your face, you should leave me far behind. Also, if this is my final topic, then I must say thanks for all the problems of mine that you've helped me with. And I'm sorry for everything. No one deserves the burden that I am. I know some will probably try to convince me that I'm worthy of love, but save your effort, please, for your sake. I'm not worth it, especially not to myself. And that's from Cherry. So, Cherry, I really, really appreciate you posting. And I'm really, really sorry that you find yourself in a place of it seems like such despair. I've been in despair multiple times, many times, for sometimes for long periods in my life. And I know it can feel empty and bleak and hopeless and I'm so sorry that you find yourself in that position right now. Um, I don't know if there's much, it's tough because sometimes when you're in that position, you know, a lot of times the things people say, the well-meaning, a lot of times they mean well, but the advice they give, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of falls on deaf ears, right? Because sometimes the darkness is so dark that light has a hard time penetrating, and that anything good has a hard time getting through. So, um, I with that, I will say the person I know best to speak about this is Ryan. And so I'm really excited that he gets to talk first
All right.
because he has such a heart. He loves you as as much as he loves anyone. And you know, he is able to share love for people in ways that just blows my mind. So anyway, Ryan, take it away.
All right.
Are you on
Well,
that side of me
hopefully
or
I
are
can
you
do
on
it.
that side of me?
You actually hit it right.
Uh,
Yeah, that's me. I'm over here.
uh,
What's up?
you're there.
Um,
Okay, you're on the bongo side.
yeah, I'm on the bongo side.
Yeah,
You're for me.
good.
You're on the left.
That's the proper side. The bongo
Yeah.
side is the proper side.
All right. Good. So yeah. Anyways, um, it's interesting because of course you know my viewpoint on deserve, and you're right. Like you don't deserve any of that stuff, but you were made anyways. You don't deserve all that stuff, right? You don't deserve love, but you were loved anyways. Does that mean it should stop? No, because love is not conditional. Love is not conscious of deserve, right? You know that, Jerry. Um, that's one of the main things you have in here. It's like you don't deserve it, so you shouldn't get it. But love is not conditional. Love is something you give whether they deserve it or not. In fact, love is something you give in spite of the fact that they don't deserve it. Love is one of those things that you give because they don't deserve it. In fact, love is what you give when they don't deserve it. And all that you do out of love is because they don't deserve it. It's part of what love is, a lot of times. At least in human relations. So, being loved is alright. I mean, we don't get the choice in that. We either are or we're not. And you are. So, take it. Right. Aaron said, love is a gift, it's not a form of payment. Right. Now, I understand there are things that we don't deserve that we have, right? That are forms of payment, right? If we were to work a job and we get way more pay than we settled on when we started the job, it's like, whoa, this is more than I've earned. We didn't decide on this amount. This is more than what I've made. This is more than I deserve. All right, and that's fine to turn that down. But you know as well as I do that any love you've ever had for anybody is not because they deserved it. It's because you desire to. Am I not wrong? When you love someone, Cherry, a lot of times in your past, if you think back, a lot of the times that you love someone is partially because you desire to. You desire to give that. And you know what it's like when it's well received, and you also know what it's like when it's not. It can be painful when they don't like when they reject your love, right? Even familial love, even friendship love, right? It doesn't have to be romantic. It can be painful when people reject that, when people shove it away, right? Mm-hmm. It can feel unloving. So even if you don't deserve it, right? I'm glad that you have it. Cherish that. And don't forget about it, because it's part of what makes you you. All the time that you've spent with other people, them and their impact on your life because of the fact that they loved you, including us here at Black Static and Swerve. We spent time investing in you, not because that gets us anything. I mean, technically, it allows us to run our show, but I mean, we go beyond that to help people out. It doesn't give us anything, but yet it increases us inside of you, and we get to live on inside of you for the rest of your life because we had an impact on you. Parts of what we've worked on in our life now has become an investment in you, and you've grown in those areas which we've worked on in our lives, through our advice, through our communications, through our time spent together, rubbing off on each other, right? And it goes the other way around too. The amount of time you spent with us, we cherish. We hold those moments precious, right? The time that, the words that you say, right? The actions that you do, the times when you fall and don't succeed, and then the times where you get up and you succeed in ways we didn't expect, the times where you share your stories with us, all of that we carry with us and we appreciate. And your love for us and your care for us goes through our lives and makes us better in the things that we didn't even have to work on, because you worked on for us, worked on them for us. We gain experience through each other, and we become stronger together, and we live and remain in each other in that way. And I think that's a beautiful thing. No one deserves that, but it's so wonderful, right? So I think, thank you. Like Jeho said, seriously, thank you for spending the time that you have with us, and I hope you continue to do so, because we honestly, we really appreciate you here. And you might feel like you've been a burden, but Cherry, as well as we do, like, if you weren't here, we'd have a whole lot less topics to talk about. And you might be like, wow, thanks, I have all these issues. That's not what we're saying. Everyone's got all those issues. You're just one of the ones that are brave enough to share it. All this time, like, you post topics and you think that, man, I have all these topics and no one else does. Maybe I'm just the one that's kind of like messing everything up more. And the truth is that, no, you're just more willing to share. And I think we appreciate that so much here, because like half of the show is run off of you, Cherry. And we appreciate that. We like that, because your concerns, your problems, they're real. And they make sense. And they're things that we all have gone through. Some of us are still going through. And it's beautiful, because even if you're the only one that can share it, because a lot of other people are scared, those other people are still helped because you decided to share it. And we got to talk about it, and other people are listening in going, wow, I have that problem. And they never say it, they never admit to it, but they have got that problem, or they've got a similar problem, or they've got something that relates, right? And then you bring up the topic, we talk about it, and then they're helped, even though the topic wasn't for them, it was for you. So in turn, you end up helping people, because you are actually one of the few people that on this platform continuously and constantly come up with topics and things to talk about. So we really appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you, Cherry. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna start with that. I'm just telling you, man, I appreciate you. That's basically all I really have to say, because that's the truth. Like, I can't really say anything that will. I don't know what to say other than that, because when you're going through these hard times, I tell you, it gets better. But it only gets better when it doesn't get better by itself, right? It gets better when you make it happen, right? And you know that. But this isn't forever. And I think that sometimes when we go into these situations, when we feel this way, we feel like we've been in it forever and it's going to last forever. But the truth is, there's an end to it. There's an end to the pain. There's an end to that sorrow. And I don't mean it's when we die. Because I know when I went through it, I was like, man, I've been like this for years. But you know what? I've been out of it for more than I was in it now. And someday you will too. Once you get out of it, the funny thing is, once you get out of this darkness, you finally start to be able to look at it from an outside perspective and see what it is. And if you ever go back into it, you find it actually a whole lot easier to get back out because you've been through it before. And in fact, it's not just like easier, it's like 2 steps easier. It's like instead of like having to take 5,000 steps to walk with them, instead of having to like run a marathon, all right, and it takes you like a week because you're not in training, you find out that it's like, oh, I'm going in that direction again. Hold on, let me fix myself. Let me adjust myself. Okay, I'm good. Like, it becomes that easy. But you have to weather the storm. And I can tell you that it gets better. I promise. But that's up to you, you know? And so I just hope that I can encourage you in some way and let you know. And I'm only letting you know so that you don't have to worry so much that you're going to be here forever. Because it's not forever. It's just something that you're going through. And it's something that a lot of us have gone through. And some of us are still going through it. But there's a way out. So don't give up. Ever. There's no reason to give up. Like, giving up produces nothing good. So, anyways, I'm going to give it over to Joe. So, yeah.
Well, thanks, Ryan. That was really awesome. And like I said, Ryan has a way of speaking that is so tremendous. He has a way of sharing love. He's done that for me, and in many times where I'm just astounded at just the way he can share his heart with people. I mean, it's outstanding. So Ryan, I
Thanks,
really
Joe.
appreciate what you said there. Another thing I have to say I appreciate is what's going on here in the chat. You guys in the chat, Tara, Elizabeth, Jeho, you guys are awesome. I mean, there's some truly wonderful things being said here. Um, Tara says, we're all burdens at different times. That is so true. I've been a burden to my friends and family many times, and they've turned around and returned the favor. So it's okay. We're all that way. And Elizabeth says, true, when people open up, it helps a ton. Thank you. Because yes, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to radio shows where I've had questions and other people call in with my questions and ask the radio guy, the question I would have had, or they ask a question that I have way back in the back of my mind that I wasn't even thinking about. And I was like, oh yeah, I was wondering about that too. I didn't even really realize I was wondering about it, but I was. And, and this person had the guts to call or send an email or whatever to this radio expert person. And then they explain it. And I'm like, oh, now that makes sense. I'm so glad that somebody had the courage to do that. And Jehoshaphat says, one of the hardest things to do in our society is to talk about our problems and actively seek help. It can hurt and eat away at you, but the fact that you are taking the time to reach out speaks measures for your strength. And that is very, very true as well, because the fact that you took the time and had the courage to share, it's outstanding. So I applaud you, Cherry. And we have we have a community here at BSS that, you know, people are free to come and go, and if you decide that, you know, it's no longer the place for you to hang out, then, you know, that's okay. We'll miss you. We'll still love you. We'll still welcome you when you decide to come back, if you decide to come back. You know, I mean, but we all know people go through phases and people go through different things in their lives. And we have people that are with us for a time and then they leave for a time and they come back for a time and they leave. And it's fine. We're going to be here, and we're going to be here with open arms, and we're going to be here ready to love you and ready to welcome you back. That's that's what we will, you know, our commitment is to just stick around, right? So again, Cherry, I'm really sorry that you're going through this. I know the darkness in this situation can be so deep and difficult, and it can feel so lonely and cold. Um, but there's a glimmer of hope in your post here, in which you said, you were talking about the need to die, and you said, "I wish I could so badly, but I know doing so will hurt my sisters, my grandparents, and those who love me." And when you said that, it makes me realize that yes, deep down inside, you have a heart for those people. You care for those people because you don't want to see them hurt. And you also realize that you not being around anymore would be hurtful for them. So in that one sentence in your post, there's a little bit of a light shining. There's a little bit of hope because you realize that there are others that you care about and that care about you. And that's a hugely important thing to latch onto in moments like this. Any little bit of light when you're in this dark of a place can be so powerful. And sometimes that's the last thing. I mean, I have felt so many times in my life like I'm just holding on by a thread, you know, and whatever, and in many different areas, relationally, financially, you know, psychologically, emotionally, you know, all these different areas. There have been so many times where I have just felt like I'm at my wits' end. I don't know what to do, and it's dark and it's hard. And I struggled for a long time, probably, I don't know, at least a decade of my life with the desire for death. Just like I hear in posts, you know, and it's very interesting because the okay, I gotta be careful how I word this, but what what I wanted was to die. And what I found was that that's exactly what I had to do to make everything better. Now, let me explain. I don't mean die physically. I don't mean commit suicide or kill myself or anything like that. What I'm talking about is I had to give up myself. I had to die to myself, to my own selfish desires, my desires for pleasure, my desires for, you know, money, my desires for material wealth, my desires for everything to be great, my desires for success. I had to die to my personal desires in order to give myself to others, in order to give myself to causes greater than me. And in that lay so much healing for me. And I remember reflecting on that when it finally started to all come around and click and make sense. And I was like sitting there thinking, you know, for so long I've wanted to die, when what I really needed to do was die to myself. so then I could be an effective, you know, I could be that much better for other people. I could care for others. Like I could care for them in ways that I never could if I was focused on me and what I wanted. And what I discovered, you know, I don't know if I ever struggled with belief in God. I'm, as I look back, I don't know if I ever did. I do remember thinking God didn't care, you know, that, hey, God was there, but he, whatever. He's got other stuff to deal with. And, he's not shining his light on me ever, like, I can remember feeling that way. And I was like, and it's interesting because in my case, it was like, okay, I want this. I'm not getting this. This is what I want, and I'm not getting it. So God must not like me. That was my perspective, right? That was what I was thinking. And it took, you know, some words from a theologian, Dr. David Anders, actually. He has a show called Called to Communion on EWTN. He's very, very good, very, very smart, and he's very, very, um, excuse me, he's so good with people. He's so caring and loving, and he really knows how to say things and explain them in ways that make people feel better about whatever the situation is, right? He's so caring and kind in his approach. And so I would encourage you, maybe look that up just to hear the guy talk and to hear his demeanor. You don't have to agree with what he says. He's a Catholic, and he talks about Catholic stuff. But to hear his demeanor is wonderful. And I remember he said, when we pray and we ask God for something, there's three responses. There's either yes, or there's no, or there's I've got a better idea. Right? Actually, only two. There's either yes or I've got a better idea. And what you start to understand is, as I look back on my life and I see how things turned out, I'm like, some of these things are exactly the way they should be. And I didn't even realize it. I thought I needed to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Those things didn't happen. So I was all frustrated about it. But then as it unfolded and things started to just naturally happen, and I started to look at it, it's like, that's exactly what needed to happen. I was not prepared for the future. There are so many things that lined up to work out exactly right for this whole pandemic for people. And the effects of this time for people, they're gonna they're gonna impact our world in amazing ways. And how we respond to it is going to be key. But at the same time, as as we look back, years from now, we look back on this, it's gonna be like, that happened, and look at all the things that came from that. So even in the things that are hard, even in the things that are painful, good can result. In fact, that's the reason they exist. Because greater good comes as a result. A greater good than what was possible before the bad thing happens afterward. That doesn't make any sense the way I said it. I apologize. But so at any rate, Sherry, I'm not here to try to convince you of anything. I'm not here to try to convince you to become a Christian again. I'm not here to convince you to believe in God again. I'm not here to convince you that you should hold on to the light and strive for it. It's not my job. I can't really convince you of anything. What I can do is I can relate because I've been through experiences similar to this. It's not exactly the same, but I've been through dark times. And so I can empathize with you. I can really understand and say I know how hard it is in there. So I can relate and I can love you and I can let you know that, just like Ryan said, it's temporary. Everything here is temporary, including this darkness that you're going through. And on the other side of it, you will be stronger. You will be better equipped to do whatever it is you need to do in the world, which, as I was saying earlier, a big hint is something that serves others. And going through hard times primes us for serving others in greater and greater capacity. You already have that. I think you have a heart for other people, Cherry. I really do. And I can't wait to see what you do. I know you've got some indecisiveness going on. It's music or it's Japan or it's, working in manga studio or anime studio or something, or we're doing movies, doing all. I mean, you've expressed a whole bunch of different things that you would possibly be interested in doing. And it's okay. It's okay to try out all that. And maybe all of those interests you have, maybe you're going to be a person that combines all that and says, you know what? Maybe it's you who creates a company that finds talent in all those areas, puts it all together into something massive and beautiful. Maybe. But all those interests you have, they're not accidental. They're signposts. And it's okay to be indecisive. I've been indecisive many times. And it's also okay to focus. It's okay to focus and get things done. I found you on SoundCloud, by the way, and I'm now following you. So you should know that. Watch out. Anyway, I have talked for a long time. Ryan, what do you got?
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. And to follow up that, yeah, it's okay to be really like to be interested in all these things and jump back and forth. I'll tell you what. I found I've found time and time again, and even especially recently, if I spend like all my time working on music, I get slower and slower and slower at it. Um, he's like, "Which one did you find?" Oh no, I've got 50 of them. Um,
It's the one
yeah,
that's Cherry Pete.
if I
That's
work if I work on like if I work on if I work on music, all the time, I get slow, I get worn out. Um, if I just spend one day still working on something, like if I spend one day off, it doesn't help. If I spend one day like playing games or having fun, watching a movie, hanging out with friends, etc., it doesn't help. I'm still in that same place when it comes to music. If I spend one day working on something else creative, like actual art, like drawing stuff or designing something or creating a story, and then I come back to the music, I like way faster. I'm like refreshed. I'm like, yeah, let's get into it. Like I can do this now, and I get up to speed, and it's like weird because like didn't what's the difference between working on something else for a day and working on or and playing for a day? Like why both of them are breaks from it? How come when I work on something that's a different form of creativity, when I come back to music, I'm better? I don't know, but it just is. It's true. It happens. So be thankful that you're good at all these things. Be thankful that you have interest in them. I think interest creates ability because I mean, Double Cup of Joe was talking about it this morning. Um, when you like something, you're way more apt to be good at it
Hmm.
because you're willing to spend more time on it. You're interested in learning all the stuff, so you pick it up a lot easier. Like it's awesome, right? So the fact that you're interested in these things, it doesn't just make you good at producing things in life because it does that. But you know what it also does? There's two things besides that. One, it makes you an interesting person. I can't tell you how many times, like, I don't code. I don't. But I used to. And I use that coding knowledge that I gained from forever ago in my communications with other people, and the way I understand things, and the way I relay my messages, and the way that I create stories and develop ideas for other people, and the way I lay things out, lay directions out for other people, understanding the confines of codes and so on. Like, it helps. But outside of just being an interesting person and having a um and having like the ability to produce more stuff as a human being and affect more people, right? Another thing is it makes you one of the people that can appreciate beauty in the world. Because there's beauty in all things.
Hmm. Yes.
And if you have the ability to appreciate it, if you have the eyes to appreciate it and get into it, you expound upon that beauty and you amplify that beauty in the world. So when you spend time working on something, when you spend time indulging in something, like I'm gonna work on a game. A game idea in my head, or work on some code. I'm going to draw some stuff. I'm gonna work on some music, right? Anything you do, right? You're amplifying the beauty in the world, and I think that's super cool. Because Jerry, a lot of us aren't that great at that,
Hmm.
but you are. So I think that's awesome. I want you to go ahead with that. I mean, especially if you want to do a platform like YouTube or media, you're doing video stuff. Like it requires all sorts of different knowledge of um, how to produce yourself. You have to make your own thumbnails, which is art, right? Sometimes you throw in art inside the video, right? You have to do a bit of music in the background, right? You have to understand lighting. You have to understand pacing. You have to understand how long do I wait on this frame before I switch over to this next one so that people don't get bored. Um, how do I keep this fun and interesting? All these things, right? They all go into any sort of video. Um, so just understand that your talent is useful. Your talent is important, and it's appreciated. And you are useful. You are important, and you are appreciated. And whether it be your family or whether it be us, um, keep in mind that we love you. You know, it's interesting. I've had the sensation of like, man, I wish I would just die. Get it over with. Like I'm sick of it, right? I remember the first time I thought about that, and immediately I just start crying because I was like, oh man, I was like 9, 8, 8 or 9 years old, and the first time I thought about that, and I was just like, when I thought about it, like I just like thought about my mom and my brother, and then how much they would be in pain and sad, and I was like, wow, like I can't even like run away because I would feel so bad for them because they would panic and freak out, and I don't want that for them, right? Now it's funny because that's kind of like, you know, you think, we don't deserve anything, and you're right, we don't, but yet we still don't want to hurt the people that love us because we love them, whether they deserve it or not.
Sometimes they don't.
And sometimes they really don't.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, I think that Cherry. Here's the thing. You're gonna get over this. If I know you, Cherry, right? We've been together now for like a year and something. All right, and you've shared with us countless different scenarios, and you've shared with us who you are over the time, right? And who you started out as, who you what you improved upon, and what you've become, how you've changed and developed. I like. There's no doubt in my mind that you can't get over this, right? This desire to die. Um, I remember one of the reasons that like when I was like one of the reasons I've thought about it before was like because it'd be so much easier rather than having all these responsibilities, right? Rather than having all these burdens, all these emotions. You know, if I was just gone, then I wouldn't have to have any of it, and then it would be easier. But then it wouldn't be worth anything, and that's dumb, right? Right? If I've lived a life that I want to die from, it's my opportunity to make all of that worth it. And the bigger the problems I've faced, the more worth it it's going to be when I overcome them. The crazier the life I've lived, the more depression I've had to endure, the bigger, the brighter it is when I overcome it. And the more worth it it's going to be. You know, you can have a small wall and you can hurdle over it and it's no big deal. When you have to scale it, you end up working your muscles, right? You end up gaining experience in climbing because this was no small feat. You gain experience in how to use tools because you can't just do it with your hands. But when you get over it, you triumph, and it's not just something small. It's something big. The wall's big, right? And so, if I think about me dying, right, and I go, man, my life up to this point has been all this downhill. It's just been bad, 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 bad. There's some ups, but it's mostly just like terrible. I wish I'd just die. I can immediately go, that would not be worth it. Then what was the point of going down the hill? Right? You go down a hill when you're trying to gain momentum. I'm gonna say that again, Jerry. When you go down a hill, it's because you're trying to gain momentum.
Mm.
When you're gonna go sled, you sled up a hill or do you sled down a hill? Sled down.
It depends. Is a four-wheeler pulling you?
That's different. But yeah, I guess you could be a four-wheeler. That'd be pretty sweet. But
Or a
a four-wheeler's
snowmobile.
you burn a lot of energy. And
Yeah.
his tank's gonna go down. Gas tank. And it expends energy, and so it goes into the negative, right? So even if he pulls you uphill. But yeah, I mean, if you're going down, just ride it. It's okay. You know, last week we talked with, you were here for it. We talked with Wandering Soul. You know, sometimes you just gotta accept reality. Really, the reality is like, oh man, I'm going down. Okay. Listen to Grow. All that momentum on the downswing gives you more momentum for the upswing. It's true. That's not a perfect quote, but it's true. So if you're going down, go down. Lean into it. Sometimes you just have to lean into it, right? And you might be like, okay, then it's getting rid of Black Satin Swerve out of my life for a time. That's fine. If it's that, then it's that. Sometimes you just have to lean into it, so that you when you take the fall, you're prepared. When you take the fall, you don't scuff yourself up as much. You're like, you're landing on your hands rather than you're flat on your face. And then from there, then you start moving up. Because once you accept reality, once you accept things are just as they are, and it might be just like, like you had mentioned in the early part of the post, you feel like you're doing all of this because you are trying to make up for yourself and the way you've interacted with us, and you're just here to try to regain that posture or regain that status, and you're trying to make friends and stuff like that, because you've lost friends, right? And you're trying to get everything back to zero, because you feel like you're so far in debt, and you just want to get everything back to zero at the least, right? Or at least make some friends and stuff. But you have friends here. But here's the thing. If you have to get rid of that so that your brain can stop thinking that you need to make things level here, so your brain can stop going down a bad habit, down a bad road, then do it. Lean into that. Leave for a while and come back when you're ready. But it might not mean that, right? But I think it is important to understand, like, just look around you and go, what's real? What am I actually doing here? Like, why am I doing this? And that's one of the things I have to ask myself a lot, and it's really important to, is ask myself why. That's one of the best things helped me in my entire life, is asking myself why. Like, why would I do that? Why would I want that? What inside me wants that? Am I being selfish? Is that a selfish desire, or is that a holy desire? Am I doing this because that's a response to something? Who taught me how to do this? Why am I following in their footsteps? Does that make sense to do that? Right? All of these questions. Ask myself the reality. What am I really thinking behind all of this? What are my real motives here? And if my motives aren't pure, then I have to accept that reality and say, my motives are not pure. Let's turn this around. And then I start to work backwards through that and get rid of the problem. Because you have to pull out the root there, right, Cherry? You have to examine yourself, find the root of the problem, and de-root it there. And sometimes in order to do that, pretty much every time you have to do that, you have to go where? You have to go down. You have to keep on going down. Down deep into yourself, where it hurts. But where you're vulnerable, where all that pain is. You have to go down there. And that's how you feel right now. That's the best time to do it. Why? Because you're already down there. You're already down there trying to swim upwards. When what you really need to do is you need to swim down and get that chain that's hooked to your foot, or that root system that's hooked around your ankle. You just need to tear it out and then swim back up, or however you want to do this analogy. But you get my point. It's important to be real with yourself. In times like this, where you're like feeling all of this, it's so important to just come clean with yourself and recognize, what are my motives? Why am I doing this? Where am I? Let's get through this. Let's get better, right? So at that point, you only have upwards to go. It's a lot easier, but you kind of have to come clean with yourself and then forgive yourself. Why? Because you didn't do that to yourself on purpose. You weren't like, yeah, I want to make my life feel terrible. Like, you never at any point were like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's the whole point I'm going to live for right now, is making sure that I feel like no one, even people who hate themselves and say that they do that, don't do that. You know why they say that? It's because they think saying that will make them feel better. They're still doing it for the same reason we do anything. We're trying to do what we can to make ourselves happy. It's funny because people, like, literally, I will see people who hurt themselves or say bad things about themselves because they believe that that's the route that will take them to happiness. But it won't. You gotta, like, I mean, it's a road. And you can travel it, Cherry. I know you can. I believe in you. And we love you here. So if you want to stick with us, please do. You know, sometimes all it takes is acknowledging, okay, this was why I was doing it. I won't do it for that reason anymore. But I'm going to still be a part of it. Right? Because sometimes we can do that. Sometimes we can just realize, oh, I've been doing it for that reason this whole time. No, I'm going to do it for the good reason from now on. I'm going to try to, you know, shape myself up and make sure that I'm doing this for the right reasons from now on. Like, we can do that. And you can do that too. But yeah. Anyways, we've been on this topic for like 45 minutes. Joe, did you have anything else you want to say to clean it up? And
No, I think you said it quite well.
Okay.
I will say this, in segueing to our next topic, and this goes along, Cherry, first of all, thank you so much for the post. Thanks for being here with us, and I hope that you stick with us and you're here for many, many years to come. I look forward to, you know, knowing you for a long time. And a lot of you, oh no, you just destroyed your thumb. But anyway, a lot of the stuff that you're interested in has to do with media of many forms, whether it's video or music or other, you know, art, all kinds of stuff, right? I want to let everybody know, all of you guys who have any kind of interest in media of any form, creating something of any form, that's going to be one of the most important industries to be a part of in the coming days. With all this crisis and all this stuff going on and the shifting of the world and everything, we're entering kind of an uncertain and difficult time for a lot of people. This is such an important industry for two reasons. One, because people are going to be bored. And they're going to need stuff to watch or listen to or see or listen or look at and all that kind of stuff, right? There's going to be a lot of people that are they're going to be bored and they're going to want to fill that time, right? And if you're going to do that for them, why not create something good that's helpful to them? That's another thing. I've had this concept drilled into my head a few times now, where it's like, okay, going into the future, there are a few things that are going to be important. Media, specifically positive media, because people are going to want to feel better about the situation that's going on, right? We're going to need to provide better messages for people, right? And so those of you who are interested in any type of media at all, I encourage you, do it. And do it with something good in mind that can help people, because that's going to be so important, and so it's going to turn into a big thing in the coming years. So mark my words. I said it here. I'm just repeating what I've heard. But at any rate, it's a big deal. So anyway, we've got more topics. Yes. Danger is your middle name? Nice. If that's...
No, it really is my middle name. My parents gave that to me. I don't know why.
Danger's my middle name.
Mm-hmm. Ryan Danger, cool. Sweet lad.
Yes. So at any rate, thanks again, and let's move on. So I will go through the list of names. If you hear your name, give us a shout. Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Mark Anthony, Lux, Elizabeth, and Akil. Akil, I see you there. And I saw Elizabeth recently. Elizabeth, are you still here?
Yeah, I saw Elizabeth in the chat.
Hey, there she is. Hey, how's it going, Elizabeth? All right, hey, you are next. Elizabeth has a topic called Scared to Forgive. Okay. Scared to Forgive from Elizabeth. So, all right. Are you ready, Ryan?
I am ready. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Goes like this. My ex BFF and I parted on bad terms a while ago. She didn't want to be friends with me, and though I usually still try to fix things, excuse me, her words finally hurt me past my limit. These days, we're in contact and are friendly. I try my best to make up for the past by being there for her, but I can't open up to her anymore. It was my belief that our friendship was mutually desired, and hearing that she wished she wasn't my friend for a long time made me think I was not wanted in her life. That was why I gave up. It was not because I hated her, I truly couldn't, but because I believed her and decided she was better off without me. She tried once or twice to fix things when she began missing me, but I knew it was just withdrawal from our closeness. After the whole thing, it further cemented my beliefs when she happily chased another best friend, and because she does not say she wishes they weren't friends, I support it. But now I'm silent. And it sucks because she was the friend who drew me out of my social ignorance and made me realize what talking could be like. Now I cannot be blissfully and ignorantly quiet. I want to speak, but there is a literal voice in my head that keeps saying I am not wanted and no one can handle me. So I excuse it by saying I'm young and I have a long time to find someone to trust, and that's true. However, I'm called as a Catholic to forgive, and I really can't. When she apologized for hurting me, I just said I hear you because I couldn't say I forgive you. I'm scared that if I forgive her, I'll make myself trust her again, and I genuinely cannot. I always thought, since we clashed and fought many times, that she would get tired of me and leave, and she did. I am still me. My personality has not changed. I will express myself in a way she doesn't like, and she'll remember why she wishes she never met me. And then I'll have a deeper problem of trust. I feel like forgiving her will be saying that it was okay to treat me like that, and she'll disregard my feelings because in the end, I will forgive her and she'll get away with it. Did I mention I'm sure she doesn't even want my forgiveness or to be friends? I failed to make myself strong enough to forgive. Also, I'm sorry this is long. I swear I tried to stop myself.
You did
That's
great.
okay.
This is perfect. Perfect chunk.
That's
I like it.
awesome. Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, so much. And there's a lot that can be said about this. This is truly one of those topics that every single one of us, you know, has to deal with. Now, it might not be the loss of a best friend. It might not be that, because that can be very severe and very hurting, and it can strike a blow at deep at your trust level, right? But the choice to forgive, being slighted by someone, being hurt by someone, and then being faced, okay, how do I forgive this person? That is a universal, something that we all have dealt with. And wow, I'm so glad you brought this up because I wanted you to say, I wanted to let you know you are not alone, because this is a very common struggle. So anyway, Ryan.
Yeah. It's funny because you've come to Don't Worry Wednesday with Black Static and Swerve, and see, in business and marketing, sales and so on, they've got buzzwords like productivity, analytics, um, branding, downsizing, um, mind share, all of these business terms. And I'm pretty sure you just hit one of our buzzwords if we had them, and that is forgiveness. We are super big on forgiveness, and I think you know that, Ellie or Elizabeth. I'm pretty sure you know that. If you haven't been here while we talk about forgiveness before, you are in for a great treat because Joe has some profound and wonderful ways of going through this through wisdom on forgiveness. And he's done so much in helping me in thinking about it in different ways, as well as I'm sure I've helped him. And it's been a journey because friendship requires forgiveness. It's funny. Obviously, she doesn't want to be your friend anymore, but we're humans. Period. we are going to make mistakes and we are going to hurt each other. If we're close to someone, oh, you bet your bottom dollar you're gonna hurt them. Not because you want to, because you're human, you're imperfect, right? So to have a relationship where you say, I'm going to be your friend, but I won't have forgiveness ever. Like, forgiveness is not a part of who I am. You cannot maintain a friendship. Friendships require forgiveness. Now, you're talking about someone who doesn't want to be your friend, right? Here's an interesting thing. Sometimes, to become at peace with something, we have to forgive them. I'm going to try to do my best to explain forgiveness in a way that will help you understand why forgiving is important here, but also that it's not about being okay with what they did, or it's not because like some of the arguments you stressed here. The reason you don't want to apologize is because you're worried you'll be saying that it's okay that she treated you that way, that will lead you to be treated that way more in the future. Things like that. Here's the thing. Imagine, so the word forgiveness, actually used in the Bible, originates from an economic standpoint. So dealing with money, it comes with dealing with debts. So if someone owes you money, right, you can forgive them that debt. But why would you do that? Now here's the thing. Let's say someone owes you $20. You give them $20, right? And you're like, okay, but you got to pay it back to me. And a year goes by and they never give you $20 back, right? Another year goes by, they don't give you $20. For those 2 years that you knew them, in the back of your mind, there's always, I'm missing my $20. Where's my $20? Seriously, my $20. Where are my $20? And every once in a while, you might bring it up to him, like, hey, you got that $20 that I gave you, like, a year and a half ago? No, you don't have 20. Okay, all right, well, that's fine. Just whenever you get your $20, let me know so I can get my $20 because you owe it, right? And then every time you have an interaction with that person, every time you think about that person, your perspective is negative because they owe you, and their sum is negative. And so when you look at them and they're negative, the way your mind treats them as if their value is negative, your relationship is negative because they owe you, right? And when someone does something wrong to you, it's wrong, period, right? It's a debt that they owe you. But unlike money, you can't fix, well, even like money, you can't fix what you've done that's wrong. Like, let's say you give someone $20. Later, if they give you the $20 back, it doesn't just make you even. No, because there was a time where you were without money. How do you value that time without that money? There was interest. Money had increased in value, but beyond that, there was things you could have done with that $20 that you weren't able to because you didn't have that in your life. Because the longer they take and they draw it out, the more, you see what I'm saying? You cannot pay a debt. You cannot repay any debt in life to the exact sum that you've damaged because it's incalculable. You cannot calculate it. And when they do something wrong, it's the same thing. When it's wrong, it's wrong. And that is just how it is. But continuing with the example. Remember I said if you give someone $20 until they give it back, it's on your brain when you think about them. It's on your brain when you talk to them. But let's say you forgive them. After 2 years of this, you realize, you know what, I'm not going to get my money. So you're just like, you know what? I forgive them. I forgive them their debt. I'm not going to, I don't care if they give me the $20 anymore, right? And then you tell them, you're like, hey, you don't owe me anything. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Suddenly, you're free. Because now when you look at them, there isn't that they owe me and you feel negative. Like, you don't have that negative feeling. You don't have that feeling of absence, as if there's something that should be there that's not, as if they've wronged you, as if, right? You don't have that feeling anymore. Instead, your feeling is at least neutral, if not positive. In fact, a lot of times once you forgive something, what it really does, it doesn't just cure the wound. It purifies and sanctifies the wound. Okay? And by sanctifying a wound, you've taken something that is once damaged and creating something that is far more better than it ever could be if it wasn't damaged in the first place. That's what forgiveness does. It purifies, it cleanses, it cures, but it also sanctifies. It's kind of like when our tissue scars, right? Scars might not look pretty, but the scarred flesh is actually a tougher version of our flesh. It's harder to puncture and pierce. And that's kind of how forgiveness is sometimes. When someone wrongs you, here's the thing. The first thing we have to do is say, that was wrong. That was wrong. But you know what? First of all, they're human. God doesn't expect them to be perfect. God didn't make them perfect. And if God can forgive, then so can I. You know, it's funny, in the Bible, one of the things God says to someone at one point is, please forgive them so that I can forgive them. And that's really interesting because it makes it seem as if it's our job to forgive first so that God can forgive them. But the actual truth of the matter is hidden later, in the aspect of how you judge others, you will be judged when your time has come. And that's also why forgiveness is a beautiful thing. If you can let things go and not judge other people, right? Because that's what like if you can't forgive someone, it's because you're actually judging somebody, right? That's, you know, the line, like, it's okay to judge their actions, but not okay to judge the person. That's also like the same streamline of thinking as this. If you can look at an action and say, that was wrong, but you don't owe me anything. Right? So when you forgive a person, it doesn't mean it's like what they did was okay. You can still judge the action as wrong, is very unholy, is evil, right? But you look at that person and you identify that person as who they are, as a human being, as someone loved, as someone who is beloved. You identify them not by their sins. Right? Because when we look at people based on their sins, what we end up doing is we create a terrible person out of ourselves. If when we look at people, we just think about all the bad that they did and then say that's who they are, first of all, we're wrong. That's not who they are. And second of all, we make ourselves terrible people. We make ourselves incapable of communicating the right way with them because we're fixated on all the bad things that they used to do, or all the bad things they've done in the past. We need to take a step back when we do that and go, wait a minute, that's not who they are. That's something they did. That doesn't make them who they're going to be in the future. Maybe they realized it was wrong. They feel bad about it too. Or maybe not. Maybe they're still learning. Maybe they're not quite on my level yet, where they just don't understand yet. And you say, if I can't trust her, I'm holding it against her, right? No. Because here's the thing.
I'm glad you caught that. I was about to type in something.
Trust and forgiveness are two different things. Trust is an important thing, and we need to have trust. But we also can trust that people are people, and people are imperfect. We can trust in that nature, right? When you forgive someone, It's simply saying you're free to go. You don't owe me anything. I love you. I want the best for your life, right? And the best for your life is for you to stop doing these bad things, right? Naturally. That's what love is. Love is to desire the best for another person. And when we forgive someone, that's what we're doing. We're trying to enable them for a better life, but we're also enabling ourselves for a better life. But okay, right? So back on topic here. When we forgive someone, we're saying, look, it's okay. Well, like what you did is not okay, but it's not between us. Like, I will not hold it against you. I don't want God to hold it against you when you die. And I don't want God to hold my unforgiveness against me when I die. Right? I genuinely want the best for you in life, so I forgive you. But it doesn't mean I trust you. Because trust is believing and having faith in someone and to any extent, right? Because you can say, I trust that this person is going to try to bully me, right? I trust this person is going to look out for me and do what's good for me. Nope, you don't have to trust her to forgive her. If you can look at her and go, I don't think this person is looking out for the best of me, right? Then don't trust them. That's how that is. Trust is what your faith is in, what you believe that person is going to do. So if you trust that person is going to be a bully, if you trust that person is going to be a jerk, if you can trust that person is not going to care about you or look out for you in a bad scenario, if you can trust that person is not going to, jump in the way of a car for you, then yeah, period. Like, I don't trust you with my life, right? When you look at somebody and you go, wow, this person is looking at me and they're trying their very best to make my life beautiful. They're trying to amplify my life. They are a really good friend. They love me because they're looking out for the best of me. I trust that person with my life because I know that my life in their hands is worthwhile to me because they can see things in my life that I can't, right? That's why we have things like mentors. That's important. Priests and so on. That's important. We have spiritual mentors, and we have parents that are supposed to be doing that for us, right? That's what our friends are supposed to be doing. They're looking at us in our life and going, hey, how can I make their life better? Right? And so we can trust those people. But we don't have to trust everybody, right? You don't want to trust a criminal, right? If someone's not looking out for the best of you, then you just don't trust them. But anyways, I've talked for a little while now. Joe has some beautiful wisdom on forgiveness, and so I held off on a lot of the things I wanted to say because I want to, for sure, at least give Joe that opportunity.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Ryan. I will say you have a lot of wisdom in this area yourself, so I appreciate you mentioning some of the stuff. Everything I know about this topic of forgiveness, really, almost, well, I can't say everything, but most everything that I know comes from a place called the John Paul II Healing Center. A guy named Dr. Bob Schutz. He's a psychologist who's also a Christian, and he has done a whole bunch with healing and forgiveness and all the different aspects of how those two things are intertwined. Now, he's done a lot of other programs as well, but this specific one that I went through is called Healing the Whole Person from the John Paul II Institute. So you can find it if you just Google it, you'd be able to find it. But yeah, I went through the whole program. I think it's like $80 now for all the audios because it's long. I mean, you get like tons of audios and a big old book and everything. And I went through the whole thing, right? And but I can distill some of this down for you just to kind of help you out some because I know that's especially these days. $80 can be like a big price tag. But one of the things that they teach in there, one of the things that I went through in there, was the importance of forgiveness when it comes to not only a relational issue like this, but how it manifests itself later on in your life. And I noticed in your post, Elizabeth, you said I'm called as a Catholic to forgive, and I really can't. And you said when she apologized, hurting me, I just can't say I forgive you. And you're talking about things like, I feel like, what did it say? I will forgive her and she'll get away with it. So, and did I mention that I'm sure she doesn't even want my forgiveness or to be friends at all, right? So here's the thing about forgiveness. You forgiving another person is not for them. It's not. It's not letting someone off the hook. As Ryan explained, it's not taking something wrong and saying it's okay. It's okay to have done that, because it's not.
Right.
It's not saying, like, oh, it's all good. It is in a way saying it's all good. But I love how Ryan put it. He's like, you're free to go. But the release happens in you. Because here's what's happened. You've been wounded. And it's painful. And I know that. You explained it, and I can only imagine. I mean, having a best friend treat you like that and not want to be friends anymore, go through, I mean, that is a deep and painful wound. So here's what we do. We get wounded, and it hurts, and we don't like it. And so what we do is we put up a barrier to protect ourselves. And when I hear the words, like, I feel like if I forgive them, they'll get away with it, I can tell that's the beginnings of this barrier, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm shutting them out. I'm not going to be treated this way. I'm not going to experience this again. And so I'm going to protect myself. And it's natural to do that, because, like, seriously, if you get hurt, you don't want to get hurt like that again. Of course not. Nobody does, ever. And so what we want to do is protect ourselves. And so we start to build these barriers, right? And so now you've got a wall, the beginnings of a wall around your heart, to protect your heart from being hurt. But what it does also is it holds the real you in and doesn't let you out. The wall blocks both directions. So it's blocking you from getting hurt. It's doing what it's designed to do. It's maybe made you callous toward a certain type of area, but it's also shut out a part of you that God created to be shared with the world. And sometimes it's the most beautiful parts. And what happens, we do this over time. We build up walls. This is a big one right here. This is a really solid one, because it's a best friend. It's a deep and painful wound. I understand. Okay. But as it happens through our lives, we build up more walls. We close ourselves off for more and more. And before long, we're not even really ourselves. We're not even acting ourselves. We're not sharing the real us with the world. We're sharing a version of us that's, protected and guarded and everything. But these barriers that we've built are keeping us from experiencing the world, and the world, more importantly, others experiencing the beauty that you are, the whole you that's beautiful, that God created to be shared. So, and then, okay, So we'll just take this down the road even further. Here's what happened to me, because I can remember having experiences like this, and I started putting up walls, right? And I'm like, I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting myself. I'm not going to get hurt like this again. By the time I was in high school, I hated everybody except for my close group of friends. Hated them. I like, seriously, just looking at other people made me angry. That was what I turned to. I turned to anger. I shut everybody out to the point where I was like, my defense was an offense. If you came close to me, I would give you a dirty look. And if you still came even closer, I would say something mean to get you away from me, because I didn't want to experience any possibility that you would hurt me, because I'd been picked on incessantly for a few years at this point. Just at school was hard time, especially middle school was super hard for me. And then early high school, like, I was small, I got good grades, so I was kind of a nerd, and I was whatever, right? So I was an easy target for a lot of people. And so they they did it. They picked on me a lot. And unfortunately, unfortunately, in my school where I went, most of those people were the Catholics that were picking on me, right? So kind of gave Catholics a bad name at that point in time. But I've since come around and understood the truth behind it all, right? It's not it's not the faith, it's the people, the and what they do, right? But at any rate, that's neither here nor there. So here's what was happening. I was experiencing this, and finally I had had enough, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hate everybody. I turned to hate. And you know what that built in me? That built an emptiness that then, when I had my first experience with alcohol, I latched onto that hardcore, because it's something that gave me pleasure, and I hadn't felt pleasure in forever, because I was so busy being mean and in this dark spot where I was just, there was all this bad feelings all the time, bad feelings. And so then when I have so like I said, first experience with alcohol, loved it, latched onto it, gave me pleasure. That was like, hey, this is great. If I could be like this all the time, that'd be awesome. And then onward and onward to other drugs and everything like that, right? So I went through this process of going down this path of, this party lifestyle, because I was experiencing pleasure, and all it was doing was, it was fake, right? It was just this fake pleasure, and it was all just helping me to not be a part of the world. It was helping me to get away, because I couldn't handle it. Eventually I ran into some good people, and I got a bunch of that stuff cleaned up, so then I got out of the party scene, and everything was fine, but I still had these barriers up. And this is years later. I'm talking, like, some of these walls I can remember putting up when I was in sixth grade. How old are you when you're in sixth grade? 10, 11, 11, 12, something? Yeah. Okay. So,
I think something like that. Yeah.
okay. And here I am, like 40 years old, and I still have some of these barriers built up. Came across this priest who was a very, very good confessor. Like, he's tremendous in the confessional. Like, he gets to the root of what the thing is that's causing the sin, right? So it's tremendous, right? And he recommended this program. I went through the program. He also gave me some of the prayers from out of this program. And if you want, Elizabeth, what I will do is, I have some of the prayers, some of the prayers of forgiveness and healing, the healing forgiveness prayers. I will just direct message them to you on your bss.studio account here, if that's okay. But that way, because some of these things made a huge impact for me. here's what happened. As I started to learn this thing, all these things were manifesting themselves in bad behavior, right? I was seeking pleasure. I was seeking, escape from myself. I was seeking escape from the world. And it was causing bad relationships. It was causing, always starting and stopping. It was causing all kinds of weird conundrums. Like it's hard to explain, but I wasn't me. I was a version of me, but I wasn't the true me. And then what happened was this. I had to go through this experience, and I got coached through this by the same priest, right? I had some one-on-one sessions with him. And he sat me down and he's like, all right, some of these experiences, right? They had you dig back through times when you had these wounds. And one in particular was in the summer between 6th and 7th grade. Or no, 5th and 6th grade, actually. Between 5th and 6th grade, and we were doing this summer band program. I was in the band program, and we were doing this summer get together and do some band stuff in the summer, to just kind of keep everybody practicing a little bit and stuff like that. And so we were there and we were playing. I was in the percussion section, and there was a guy who had been a close friend of mine ever since kindergarten, and he was a percussionist with me. And he and this other person just started pushing me around and picking on me. It wasn't horrible at first, but it kept going. And it kept going. And I remember they just were laughing and picking on me and pushing me back and forth. And I'm sitting there like, I can't hardly deal with this, because this is a person, this is my friend who is like way bigger than me. So he's like my protector, right? Because he was way bigger than me.
And your protectors now yeah.
And at this moment in time, he's becoming my, he's becoming, like a bit of a bully. I wouldn't say bully, but he was picking on me, right? And I felt so betrayed in that moment. And I honestly, after a few minutes of this going on, them pushing me back and forth and around and everything and shoving me and everything and, making fun of me, I just lost it. I started bawling and I ran out of there, and I found there was this little stairway, off outside the room through the doors to the outside. And there was a staircase, like the emergency staircase out there. And I just sat in there and I was crying my eyes out in there, right? And that was one of the first defining barriers that I built. That was one of the first times I built up a wall that I could remember in my life. And with this, I remember going back to this experience, and because I had never forgiven, I had forgotten about it. This is years later. This is 30 years later. Almost. And this is still causing some kind of a hitch in my life, because I hadn't taken care of this issue, because I still had this wall built up. And when I finally went back to that moment and I forgave my friend and this other person, they were picking on me, and I forgave them in my heart. I didn't tell them I forgave them, because this is 30 years later. I'm not going to find them. That we've lost contact years ago. I don't know where they're at. I kind of have an idea where they might be, but I it was just all inside me. Elizabeth says, is it bad to forget without forgiving? Not always. In this case, yes, because it was a defining wound that caused me to build a wall. And so the wall stood until I forgave. Until I went into that moment and I actively said, what happened was wrong. What you did to me was wrong, and it hurt me. And I forgive you. And in that moment, like I'm feeling it right now, actually, I'm feeling that release, like right now, of just saying it
Mm.
again, because I remember that. Now, in that moment, because I still had the wall in it, and at that moment, the wall started to crumble down. What happens in those moments? You kind of relive that pain a little bit. I started weeping. I'm all alone in my room, sitting on my bed, going through this program, weeping as I'm praying this prayer. And then I related this experience to the priest. I was telling him about that particular experience. He's like, okay, go back there right now in your mind. Go back to that staircase where you're crying after all this happened, and you're sitting there in pain. Now, imagine Jesus comes. What's he say? How does he look at you? How does he wipe the tears from your eyes? And then, not only do you forgive the person, you forgive them. You say, I forgive you. And then you pray and you say, God, please forgive them. And when you do that double whammy right there, now the wall's destroyed. And I feel like I can be more truly myself than ever. And it really, that's what the power of forgiveness is. You forgiving people allows you to truly be you. Us not forgiving people, what happens is we don't let ourselves be ourselves anymore. We block ourselves from experiencing the world, and we block the world from experiencing us. And you, Elizabeth, have been created for a purpose. There's something you're supposed to do while you're here. You have a unique set of gifts and talents and everything that's uniquely you, and the world needs to experience it in whatever capacity you're supposed to. I mean, whatever is planned for you, it's going to require you, the real you. And forgiveness lets us be our true selves. Princess said in there, at some point way long ago in the chat, she said, forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. It's not to let them off the hook. It's not so they can get off the hook. It's not so they can heal. The person who offends, in an exchange, there's an offender and a victim. The offender is healed through repentance.
Yes.
The victim is healed through forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So as the victim in this situation, your route to healing you, not them, not the relationship, but you, is to forgive. If you're an offender, your route to healing you is repentance, not them, not the relationship, because sometimes it's irreparable. Sometimes the damage is done, the friendship is over. Sometimes there's no going back. We'd like to think there is, and most of the time, 99.99999% of the time, if both sides do their part of repentance and forgiveness, there is reconciliation. The friendship will survive. But in your case, you said, I'm sure she doesn't even want my forgiveness or to be friends. Then probably she is not repenting. But that doesn't mean you don't forgive, because forgiveness isn't for her, it's for you. Forgiveness is and for all of us, so we can experience you. And so you can feel safe letting your true self be out there, because then you can joyfully experience the world. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing. So I'm sorry, I went on for way too long.
That's all right. I'm glad you did. I thought that was great. And if Jeho, thank you so much for sharing your story too. I mean, it's so good. And I'm glad I got the chance to read it. If, I would encourage everybody else to do so too. But yeah, the forgiveness is super important. There's so much more we could say about it. There's so many tangents I want to go off on. But if you stick around, Elizabeth, I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about it. And hopefully this is enough to kind of get through your hurdle. You know, one thing that I touched on briefly, that I do want to say, is there's that moment in the Bible where God says, forgive, basically tells someone to forgive another person so that he can forgive them. And it's a funny moment because a lot of times we'll listen to that and get the wrong idea. Like, God forgives, well, of course, God forgives who we forgive. That's true. But the idea of God doesn't forgive and he holds on to it until we forgive is actually wrong. And I've heard a couple of people say that that's how it is. It's actually not exactly how it is. The truth of the matter is that God is already forgiven. God is already forgotten. But you keep on bringing it up to him. And he's sick of it. And so he's like, please forgive them so that I can forget about it. And that's the honest truth. And that's really a lot of times why we forgive, because we're just bringing ourselves down, just like Joe said. We fix our wounds. When someone wounds us, we heal, right? But we only heal when we forgive. The other person heals when they repent. When you forgive someone, it's not to make it so that they are healed. It's to encourage their healing. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't heal them. Just as them repenting will encourage our healing. Like when they come and they say, hey, I am so sorry I did that. That doesn't actually do anything. It's just words. But you know what it does? It encourages us to take our route of forgiveness to heal ourselves. So with that, I'm going to end that topic there. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for the topic. Thanks for being here. I hope that you stick around. We've seen you quite a few times here, so I'm really glad to have you. And I have to give you some props. I noticed this is your first post on BSS.studio.
Thanks for joining us. We've seen you on the stream quite a few times now, and we're happy to have you with us. You're awesome.
Yep. So you're awesome, and yeah, thanks for being with us. And I'm so glad that thanks for giving me an excuse to talk about this stuff, because I love relating this.
Forgiveness is one of our favorite topics, to be sure.
Well, honestly, truly, like really, most of the time, a lot of the problems that we have, a lot of the problems we're dealing with, we either need to repent or forgive. Mm-hmm. Somewhere. And it could be a long time ago. It could be something we've held on to for years, as in my case, right? But that's the path. That's the path to healing. If you're the offender, your job is to repent. And you don't have to seek out the person and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Now, you can. It's great and it's beautiful to do that. But in your heart, we're talking about you in your heart feeling bad about the thing you did, feeling sorrowful for what you did, wanting to not do that kind of again, wanting to make the amendment in your life to not do that again. That type of repentance in your heart is the kind that's going to heal your heart. The repenting to the other person might be, like Ryan said, it might be the spark that heals them, gets them to forgive, so then they can heal. And it's also going to be helpful in repairing the relationship as well. So, but healing ourselves, that's an inside job. So, anyway, thanks so much for the topic. What's next? Or is
Well,
it already like, oh, it's already, wow.
it's 153. We've got Luxoka with us. I'm real happy to see him.
Mhm.
But oh shoot, okay, fix it.
Well, I'm the host.
Yeah, you're the host, and
Let's do one more.
I'm the producer.
Actually, Princess, can we do one more?
Yeah, Princess is up to you. Princess, I'm game. Okay, she's game.
Cool.
We can do another one.
All right, let's do one more. Who's next on the list? Lux?
Yeah.
All right.
I still disagree. Sparrow, don't you dare.
What?
Sparrow's disagreeing.
About what?
With us continuing, I think. I thought that's what he was disagreeing with. I don't know. Maybe it's something entirely different.
Lay down that dominance hierarchy and instantly tear it down.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, Joe Spitz. Great to
Yeah,
see
we
you.
love you, man. Thank you so much for being with us. And yeah, I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? I'm in charge. I'm the host. Princess, can we do another one?
Yeah. That's right. Well, it's just because it's like she would be the one to suffer, so that's why we
That's
wanna
right.
ask.
Joemocracy.
Democracy is a strange thing. Nice. Well,
All right.
you'd understand if you read the Book of Joe.
The Book of Joe. You got to read the Book of Joe. It's not
where
been written
demons do
yet.
exist.
All right. So this is from Luxoka. It's called "Broke Up with Someone Who Doesn't Love Themselves," and yeah, it goes like this. I ended my relationship with my girlfriend because she doesn't love herself, and I can't be in a relationship with someone who doesn't love themselves. I will always love her, but I want her to love herself first. It caused me immense pain, and that's why I ended it. My feelings won't change, and I will wait for her to love herself as long as I have to. Short and sweet from Luxoka. And that, but there's a lot packed into those words.
Short and bitter.
Yeah, actually, that's more like that's better.
Yeah.
That's a better way to put it. It's bitter is better.
Bitter butter.
The better bitter butter.
Well, Betty Brotzenberger bought some.
They bought some.
I don't
burger.
know her last name, so Brotzenberger is her last name.
Brotzenberger
bought some bitter butter, but Betty Brotzenberger bought better butter and mixed the batches both beautifully, benevolently put together, and
with bitter butter and better butter.
And it made the bitter butter better.
Made the bitter butter better.
Betty Brotzenberger.
Betty Brotzenberger made the bitter butter better.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Right.
Now you guys know the true form of the tongue twister.
Yeah. Wow.
Those are the actual lyrics.
Somebody said on Double Cup of Joe show, they were like, that's kind of a thing. Say that 5 times fast. I'm like, Double Cup of Joe show, 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 Double Cup of Joe show.
That sounds awesome.
It's because I've practiced.
Yeah. You're like, I do this every morning, guys.
Just like, you practice? I'm like, yeah, I practice.
Yeah.
Practice that. I'm a big dork, you know? Like, what do you expect?
Double Cup of Joe.
Double Cup of
I don't
Joe
think I
show.
could say that many times fast.
It's good. But all right, so Lux,
Let's go.
I gotta tell you, this I have mixed feelings about this. One, I feel bad because I know this pain of ending a relationship. It's not easy, right? But I applaud your resolve, and I applaud your ability to see how hard the relationship will be with somebody who doesn't love themselves. Because yes, it will be hard. It's going to be mad struggle. You know, I speak from experience. But at any rate, I'm going to turn it to Ryan because he's amazing and he's got wonderful things to say. I can tell. He's leaning forward, but he's not holding a pen yet. See.
Hey, so today I have some words for you. I don't know if they're going to be any good or not. Let me bring it back in, and hopefully they'll
You
be
need to
better.
pick up a pen. If you lean forward and pick up a pen.
So,
Than
nothing makes you look smarter than a red and white chip clip.
a chip clip.
Yes. So, especially if it's attached to your chin. Um, no one's gonna be able to take me seriously if I. So okay, I
I
have
do this.
I
Is that
have a
gonna bother
significant
you?
experience in this. I know Joe has experience in this as well. Um, it's an interesting thing. I know that I have, in many cases, been the crutch of a relationship and it causing the person more harm than good. Where knowing that the person is complacent or they don't love themselves, they're depressed or whatever, but they have you to lean on can really make it so that they stop progressing themselves. And so I totally get and understand where you're coming from in all this because it's true. Um, when someone doesn't love themselves, the effectiveness of their ability to love is severely diminished. I'm not going to say by any means that someone who doesn't love themselves can't love another person. They can. However, the nature of not loving yourself means that your ability to love is then decreased, right? Now, you don't need me telling you that. I'm just putting this out there so other people understand. So, usually, a lot of times, because the person is effectively taking everything and putting it back to themselves and then reducing it in a negative way. That's kind of the nature of when you don't love yourself, when you're depressed or whatever. You everything is about you. Everything in the world is about you and how it affects you in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that applies to the relationship. And when that applies to your relationship, that becomes extremely unhealthy. Not just for the relationship and the other person, but especially for the person who's causing it. Your relationship should be good, right? It's supposed to be about love. It's about beauty. It's about life. It's about wisdom. It's about truth. It's about bolstering each other's dignity and strengths up, right? That's a good relationship. It's about finding the best in each other and exemplifying the best in ourselves. But all it takes is for one person to not like themselves to bring that down, to crush that whole spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because then their mind isn't in the right place, right? So what you've done, I can understand. I can understand it. Now, there's no saying that the person can't get better if you continue to cultivate the relationship. And you can do so outside of the romantic setting, outside of, hey, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. You can still be their friend. And as the Greeks once said, friendship is the highest call or version of love, far higher than that of romance. And I would second that. It's that friendship that your romantic relationship should be entwined with, but they aren't always, especially from both parties. Sometimes only one party is the friend of the other, and that can make things very difficult. So, I get it, Lux, and you've made this move. This is the move you've chosen. So, I think the best thing you can do is make this move work, make it worth it. I remember entering into a relationship. So one time I had this girl and she had like all sorts of problems. Like I knew her for years. She had all sorts of crazy mental buildup of problems. And finally like something clicked and she started getting on track. Like everything, like she started like, hey, I'm gonna go to like do these things. I'm gonna start working on myself. I'm gonna read this book about like how to better interact with people. And she started improving like crazy amounts. It was so awesome to see this. Like she was improving at rapid pace, and she was like, I'm like super impressed with her. And so then we get into a relationship, and it all just collapses immediately. Like it's weird, but because all of a sudden she had somebody that she knew would love her no matter what, she felt like she could get away with being her relaxed state of pitifulness. You know, she felt like she didn't have to work hard to be someone honorable, be someone virtuous, because she already had what she wanted. And because she had what she wanted, she didn't have to work anymore for it. So she was just done. And she stopped working on herself. And she just started going back to how she used to be. So I had another relationship with that. Actually, both of them. And when I ended the relationship, both of them started working on themselves again. One of them finally got into the nursing career that she planned to get into, but she hadn't for years. She was putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. She had all these weight problems that she was putting off, putting off, putting off. She worked hard at times to get it off, but she, wasn't consistent. She knew that I loved her no matter what, and I did. And I loved her even after I was like, hey, we're going to stop the relationship here. I loved her even after that. Always will. And I was so happy to see her improvement once we ended it. Sometimes things like this have to happen to fuel our fire to start moving again. Here's the thing. All of those people, those two people I just mentioned, I kept good relationship with them. I kept in touch, right? We kept talking. And I got to see them improve. So Luxoka, I would encourage you to do the same. You won't be doing yourself any harm if you can spend some time with them. Not as much time as you used to, but still spend some time with them. Still be an example of light in their world to help guide them, to let them know that you're still their friend. You're still on their side, right? Now, your intention is it seems that you want to be in a relationship with them again once they've come to understand and love themselves. But for now, you're putting on hold in hopes that it will increase their vigor and their desire to expound upon their virtues and get better at loving themselves. I think it's a noble act, and I think you can make that better if you cultivate it, but not by being a crutch, right? If you start to notice that you're being a crutch again, right, then you're gonna have to back off. It kind of stinks. It really stinks to be in that position, and I remember being there. It just stinks. It's period. So you're gonna have to let it go for a while, and then do your weekly due diligences and just say, hey, how's it going? Nice, that sounds cool. What have you been up to? Checking up on them and stuff like that. But it's an interesting thing. But anyways, ultimately I'm just saying, I've been there, man. I get it, and I'm proud of you. It's hard to know what the right path is. All paths can lead to all destinations if you can keep on changing lanes, and we can always change lanes. You could have kept the relationship alive and she could have ended up fixing her love for herself. It's a possibility. But hopefully this path that you picked will work. It will work for her and will work for you. Sometimes you just have to pick an option and then make it work. So I think one of the best things you can do is figure out how to follow this up, right? What do you do to follow this up now? Are you going to, I think, like I said, one of the best things you can do is keep checking up on them, but don't spend too much time with them. Don't let them know that they can still count on you to be their crutch, that you're going to still love them no matter what type of thing. Because that, like I said, it hinders a relationship. It hinders a person from growth. Continuing to spend time with them, being an example, spitting out wisdom upon them. It's a weird way to say it. But I think that's important. A lot of times, when someone has an issue in something, the best way to resolve it is not by giving advice. The best way to resolve it is by taking them on an adventure where you give an example of you doing it, and then they come and do it with you, and then they start to grow. So, Lux, you've been in the position before where you didn't love yourself. take her through that if you can. If you can, spend a little bit of time showing that you're working on it each day. You're working on loving yourself more each day. Because if you can spend time doing that, then she'll have something to at least follow. She'll have an understanding of what she can do to start working on that part of her life. And that's really the best advice I can give there. But yeah, I'm going to give it back over to Joe. Hopefully he's got some good things to say about this. I'm sure he does.
You're pretty confident in your thoughts about me there, Ryan.
He's definitely got really good things to say about stuff. So shut up and listen to him.
Hold on. Let me get my pen. Sorry.
You're so smart.
I need my glasses.
Hold on. Let me get my little tiny bowl. I'm so smart. Not everybody has a tiny bowl.
No, they don't. All right. Anyway.
Sense.
Sorry.
Doesn't have smell.
It must be late. It must have been a long day. Anyway, Lux, thank you so much for the post. And what Ryan was saying, wow, like that is so right on, because we don't think, like, I mean, your friends are telling you. I was checking out what you're saying in the chat. So I gotta scroll up now. People have asked also that I was wrong and that I should be there for her instead of running away, when all I want to do is make sure she loves herself first. I don't know where we get this idea that well, maybe it just is, we think it's logical that if somebody's going to get better, they need somebody to be there to, be their crutch or whatever, like Ryan was talking about. I thought that was a very appropriate term, because that's exactly what ends up happening, right? You become a crutch to them.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that we're helping, but what's happening is we're just enabling the bad behavior, unfortunately. And the best thing you can do is go back and listen to what Ryan said like 6 times, because what he said in that, I mean, I was just like, I was super impressed, because I didn't think of it at that deep of a level. In fact, I had to have other people come up and like whack me up the side of the head and say, hey, stop being a crutch for them. Or like, what the heck, like people say, why are you in this relationship? Like, what's the point? Are you just stubborn or what? Like, here's the thing, port yourself into the future, right? Let's say you stuck in this relationship. What's the end of romance? Marriage, family, a lifelong commitment, right? And I know we don't hold that lifelong commitment in high regard as much these days as they used to, but it still is a lifelong commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine someone who doesn't like themselves. Imagine, like, now you're in a lifelong commitment and there are children. Imagine the life for those children. So it spawns and it goes beyond just a relationship and beyond this person. If this doesn't get addressed and they don't learn how to grow and learn how to like themselves, because you can't, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love other people? How are you going to fully love other people? I mean, you can serve other people, you can help make their life better, you can put them before, you put their needs before yours, you can do all these kinds of things, but if you don't love yourself, you will never love them as much as you could. You might feel affection towards them, you might feel good feelings about them, but to truly love somebody, You got to love yourself first, right? And so you're really wise to do this, Lux. I'm impressed.
I think, um, I think he learned this because I told someone to do this to him a long time ago, and it worked.
Oh, interesting.
Um, the person who posted for him was Senna. Now Senna used to look after Lux for a long time. They were good friends. Um, but Lux was having difficulties, and I was like, "Yeah, you're kind of being his crutch." And she knew that, and I believe she let him know that. And so he got to experience this firsthand. Yeah, Senna
Hmm.
is a beautiful person, and it took her so much strength and courage and pain to do that back then. She didn't want to do that. That was like the last thing she wanted to do. That was the last effort she could put through. She was like, the last thing I want to do is abandon this person. They need my help. And I was like, you're right, they do. But at the same time, yeah. So I was surprised that she actually listened to me and took my advice, but it really did help. And Lux has been the benefiter of that sacrifice. That's why sacrifice is so important, and that's why sacrifice is never to be looked as something small, because that was a huge sacrifice for her. It's a huge sacrifice for you, and it was it was one of those moments where you just like, well, let's just try this, and it worked, right? And so that gives me confidence, Lux, that this very well could work.
Hmm. Tara, I love your comments. At some point, you got to let the kitty climb the tree. That's right. Birds push their babies out of the nest, let them fall to the ground.
Get out of here! You're too big for that
Bang!
nest.
Ah!
What is this? What's going on? What was that?
And then they
What
hop
is that?
around a little bit on the ground, like, oh no, oh no. But seriously, um,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. You're doing the right thing.
You're absolutely doing the right thing. And
It's a
here's
hard
one
thing to do,
thing.
but it's
It
the right
is. It
thing.
is absolutely a hard thing to do. And so here's one thing that I want to encourage you in this direction. Okay, this is not going to be easy, but like Ryan was saying, it seems by the tone of your post that you say your feelings won't change and you will wait for her to love herself as long as you have to. So then you'll be there to rekindle the relationship, the romantic relationship, when she accomplishes this, right? If I were you, for your own personal mental health and emotional health, I would let go of romance. I would let go of the idea of it. Not saying that it won't ever happen. If you've heard the way that my wife and I ended up getting together, you've heard a crazy story about how things can look a certain way and then all of a sudden change. Like I let her go completely, and then we still ended up getting married, right? But it was possible that it wouldn't have happened, right? Totally. It just happened to work out that way. It might work out this way too. But in your mind and in your heart, I would encourage you to take the time to figure out how to let go of the romance. Let it go. Let go of the prospect of the romance. Let go of, if I were you, I would get the thought in your head that, you know what, we are not going to be romantically involved. And it might take some time to do that. It might take some effort, might take some tears.
And holding your own tongue.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
A
absolutely.
lot of that.
It is. Yes, it's going to be hard. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But like what Ryan was saying, for you to be an effective friend that actually aids in her growth, the idea of that has to not be there. Because as long as the idea is there, it's going to affect the way that you respond. It's going to affect the way that the things you say, the way you are, and there's still going to be the hint of that crutch available. So for you to, plus it's going to help you keep your own sanity, because as she grows, maybe she'll grow into a different person and, go move halfway across the world and fall in love with some guy somewhere and whatever. Who knows? Meanwhile, you're sitting there still waiting, for this romantic relationship. Who knows? People grow, people change, people go through all kinds of stuff, right? But at the same time, for your own strength and security inside you, I would work towards, not notice I didn't say let go of it right now. Do it right now, because I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be a process. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. But it's going to, take the time to work on yourself a little bit and let go of that prospect of the romance, because for both your sakes. Because as she grows, she might grow away from you. That's a real possibility. She might grow back towards you too. It might grow and you might be together. It might be great, right? Might be wonderful. I've had friends that had that happen. I've watched it both directions, right? So anything's possible. But for you to have the expectation and to be holding out for something, like I said, the two things are going to happen. You are going to be affected. You're going to be held back inside. And it's going to color all of your responses as you try and help her as a friend, like Ryan was saying. If you plan on being her friend, if you have romance in the back of your mind, it's going to affect everything you say and do.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage you to do that. Okay, hurts a lot even thinking about it, and I'm scared of being hurt. I understand. But here's one thing I can tell you for sure. Pain in life is inevitable. I'm sorry. It is, right, Ryan?
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. We're gonna experience pain.
You're welcome.
It's okay. I just had to make sure that you agreed with me on that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We will experience so many different kinds of pain, unexpected and expected, all kinds over the course of our lives. This is one more experience. And yeah, it's important. How do I put this? I like seeing that you're scared of being hurt. You know why? Because what that tells me is that it's going to hurt a lot less than you think it will. Every single time I am scared of something, when I actually go through it, it's so much less painful than I thought it was going to be in my mind. I get it built up as this big old huge deal. It's going to hurt a lot and it's going to be so painful and everything like that. And then I actually go through it and I'm like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I expected it to be. For me, that's always been the case. What I have to be worried about is when I'm not scared. Because I think, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. Yeah, piece of cake, man. I can be a graphic designer. I can do the layout and design for a book. Piece of cake. Then I got into it.
You did it.
Yeah. It was painful and hard and fun and amazing and all kinds of emotions, right? But it was much bigger deal than I thought it was going to be. But every time I'm scared of something, every time I look at something and I'm afraid of it, when I actually do it, it's way easier than I thought it was going to be. So, relational issues are hard. Lux says, I'm scared of being hurt. How do I do this? We set a time for when we should get back together if we see we can work after her improvement. I don't want to hurt her if I suddenly end that idea. Okay. Well, maybe you wait until that time comes. If you have a time set, don't do anything until that time. See where it is, you know? But because you've already done this once, it tells me of your wisdom. It speaks volumes about who you are as a person, Lux.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I'm so proud of you. Because when the time comes, you will be able to analyze it and you'll be able to say, okay, nope, we're not there yet. At that point, we can readdress it, right? So for now, you don't have to do anything because you've already made a commitment to set a time to reanalyze things at a certain point, right? I say go, that's not a big deal. And hey, if she's all good and get back together and everything works out great, great. But understand, everything working out great, there's still going to be relationship problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the classic thing. Married people have marriage problems. Hands
Single
down.
people.
I guarantee, if you're married, you have marriage problems. If you're single, you got single problems. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, that's funny. I like that. It's funny.
But it's true.
And if
You're
you got,
simply-
and if your relationship is complicated, you got complicated problems.
You do. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got kids, you got kid problems.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You got a car, you got car problems.
Yeah, you do. Oh, yeah, you do.
You got a house, you got house problems. You got a guitar, you got guitar problems.
Uh-huh.
You got bongos, you got bongo problems. You know the one.
You know this is the one.
Yep, exactly, Lux. You got a life, you got life problems for sure. We will not escape having problems. You know what? Gives us chances to grow. Gives us chances to improve, to get stronger, to become better. You got trust problems. Yep. You got money problems. You don't got money, you got money problems.
Huh.
Interesting how that one works, right?
Yeah, I guess that's...
You got a dad, you got dad problems. If you are a dad, you got dad problems.
If you don't got a dad, you got possibly dad problems.
Yeah, you might have dad problems
You
too.
might have dad problems.
Yeah, but point is, you're gonna have problems, and
You're
it's
right,
okay. We love you, Lux, and I gotta say, I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too.
For when I read this topic, because I didn't read it before I actually read it out loud, and then when I read it, I was like, wow, this is somebody who gets it. Like, that's sweet. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
you understand. You are so much farther than most people I know, and most people I know are old, and they still think Hollywood. Like, oh, everybody just needs somebody to lean on. Everybody needs somebody to lean on and be their crutch. And no, marriage, once you're married, you just ride off into the sunset and it's fine. And if you ever hurt my daughter, I'm going to come after you. It's like, dude, we're getting married. We are going to hurt each other. I promise.
Well, you better start coming.
I promise. Can you just beat me up now? Like, can we just do this? Get it over with? Because you're going to end up beating me up. I'm going to hurt her. She's going to hurt me. There's going to be lots of mutual hurting over the years to come, right? It's going to happen. That's what we do. We're people. Ryan said it so well. We're people. We're not perfect. We hurt each other. When we're close to each other, we hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's repentance and forgiveness, so we can heal. And in that healing comes something stronger than there was before. It's really quite beautiful. And that's one of the reasons why pain is so beautiful, because of what results. It's part of the healing process. and what the healing process produces is strength, beauty, honor. It's gorgeous. It's an amazing thing. So you can get through this for sure. You can. But anyway, Ryan, you got anything else?
No, not really. I guess. Well, I got two quick things, and then we can close it down. One thing is you said you're scared of being hurt. I think that's just speaks more powerfully to the sacrifice you're willing to make sure that she has accurate love. Because what you're doing is you're setting aside romance for true love. You're saying, hey, we're going to part for a while because what I really want is the best for you and the best of you. And I think that that is so hard. Seriously, even myself, I would find it very difficult right now if I was in a relationship just to break up and be like, hey, I want you to have your time so that you can, get your stuff together for you, and I don't want to be there slowing you down. It's hard to do that, man. So I gotta hand it to you. That's amazing. That's worth it, though. And the other thing is, if there's promise of romance or promise of dating in the future, that's okay. That can inspire. I think you should still do what Joe said right now until that day comes. Remove that whole aspect of the relationship from your side, and try to just do your best to be a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
And, but if she still wants to be in the relationship, right, that can inspire her to be like, well, I gotta make this happen. If she has something on the line that she cares about, which is you. So I think emphasize that, as hard as that is, because you want to be like, look, no matter what happens, I love you, period. But then to follow that up with, but we can't be in a relationship if you don't love yourself. It's like, well, then you don't love me unconditionally. And it's like, no, it's just that I love you unconditionally. It's because I love you that I'm saying this. And it can be really hard to understand for them. But yeah, aw, this is sweet. We got Senna and Lux together. Guys, this is beautiful. I'm so excited. You don't understand. I'm actually like dying inside right now. I love these two people. And
Cool.
Yeah. That's about it though. So I'm gonna give it back over to Joe.
Yeah, you give it back to me.
Okay.
What's the proper thing? Yeah, this is actually great because this is the right side. This is the side that Joe is on
This
in
is
the
the side you're
mornings
on
too.
for me.
So this, I'm always looking in this direction.
Perfect.
Like,
Well, we did
hey,
this.
man.
We did this just right.
Good
Let me
job,
get back
guys.
to your level. Hey. how's it
Thanks
going?
for being here. This was a wonderful show. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
I am thoroughly more and more impressed with the people in our community. Every stream we do,
know. We have
whether it's
incredible
Double
people.
Cup of Joe or Don't Worry Wednesday, Don't Fret Friday, Don't Muddle Monday, Pork Chop came on and said, "Are you going to change your thumbnail because it's not Wednesday?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It's not Wednesday." But I was like, "It's Wednesday somewhere, right?" And then I had these corrected.
Maybe
It's
on
not how
Saturn.
days work.
Saturn. It's Wednesday on Saturn right now, but only for the next 20 minutes. Then it's not going to be. You're going to have to look outside the galaxy.
Yeah,
For
I can do that. I'll look outside the galaxy. It's all good.
I can't do that. I've got a ceiling over above my head, and so do you.
I got X-ray vision.
Okay, well, dang.
Aha.
I'm just learning of this now the whole time.
Yeah. You are. Welcome to Crazy Town.
Welcome to Crazy Town. I got X-ray vision. Are you okay, sir? So welcome to Crazy Town.
Just the way you said, welcome to Crazy Town. I got X-ray vision. What is that?
Who are you? You know that swamp they got down there? I'm from that swamp. I'm half alligator, half X-ray vision man.
Poor Princess. Princess is gonna be like, okay, Who's got their hand on the button?
Oh yeah, I'm the
Please
one.
press it. You know the one? It's
Immediately.
Ryan. Yes. Thank you guys so much. And again, please, those of you who are praying people, please pray for Jesse and his wife as they navigate some injury process that they're going through. It's
Yeah.
tough time they're facing right now. So
Yeah, we won't be here on Saturday or Sunday. So, sorry guys to cancel for another week. It's the second week in a row, I think, or maybe even the third.
second.
So, okay, we apologize. But yeah, things happen in life, and yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yep.
But
Yep.
prayers
So
for
we're
them.
gonna. Yep. But special thanks, Ryan. Thanks for producing. Thanks for turning us off and on again.
I will.
Princess, thanks for keeping us on track. Senna, thanks for being in the chat. Man, you guys are awesome. And thank every single one of you for being here with us tonight. Thank you, lurkers, who didn't say anything in the chat. Thank you, Pork Chop, for pointing out that I was wrong about what day it was. And
Humility
and
is a good.
for all of you at topics, thanks for posting, because man,
Yeah.
takes guts, and you guys are awesome. So
Yeah.
we'll see you next week. Be sure to come back. Double Cup of Joe show, Monday morning, 7 a.m. And then don't muddle Monday evening at 9. We will be here for you. And we welcome you to join us in the chat room. It's going to be fun. So thanks for being here.
Yeah. All right. See you guys. We love you all. Peace.